toast of the town. As the pundits have told us, they'll be turning out in record numbers this year, and if Obama wins, it'll be the youth of this country who gave him the presidency. Or it won't, because early evidence suggests that young voters just might do what they always do: blow it off, stay home, space out, to get a better offer. Down in Florida, where early voting has been underway for 11 days now, the Orlando Sentinel has been crunching the numbers, and guess what they found? That people younger than 35 are so far the worst performing demographic group among the early voters. And it's not just down in Florida. Gallup's daily tracking poll shows a similar trend nationally. Based on interviews they've conducted over the last few weeks, Gallup concluded there is scant evidence to suggest we're going to see a real game-changing youth turnout. So what is happening here? All those seemingly hyper-enthusiastic stars of YouTube videos pledging to change the world, where are you? Are you really going to own this election? Quite possibly, says one political scientist. Think back to your college days. You're cramming for a final, you procrastinate, but in the end, on exam day, you will show up. Or will you? Well, we can't wait to find out. And that's why a little bit later in this hour, of course, over the next few nights, we're going to take a look into the great unknowns hanging over this election, the looming questions that could decide the next president. And tonight, our spotlight is on young voters. They make up a big chunk of the 9 million Americans who registered this year. Barack Obama's campaign manager has said, in many ways, our fate is in their hands. But young voters haven't always turned out in a big way. Will they show up on Tuesday? It is one of our great unknowns, and our David Mattingly has been digging into this in the battleground state of North Carolina. David?
What will young voters really do? It's an urgent question and one of the great unknowns of this election. Historically, they are enthusiastic.
Reruns to the polls.
But they don't turn out to vote in a big way. In polls, young people prefer Obama almost 2-to-1. And that's why whether or not they vote means so much to both Obama and McCain.
Do you feel like your vote is being asked for this time?
Definitely. Like, if you just walk through the pit every single day, you'll be hounded by people. Like, they're like, have you voted yet? I was like, that's the 10th time you asked me that. I remember that last week. So, like, and when you see students, like, just out on the corner at 8 o'clock in the morning while you're walking to class, you know people are serious about this campaign.
There are more than 874,000 newly registered voters here in North Carolina. Fully one-third, nearly 300,000, are under the age of 25. Expectations are high.
I think you're really seeing the most impact that you'll see that we've ever seen from a youth population.
Who's going to win North Carolina?
Obama.
John McCain.
The students I talk to do seem motivated and perhaps surprisingly focused on issues like health care and the economy.
Do you know who you sound like? You sound like your parents.
But the great unknown, when looking at the big picture, will they actually vote?
Young people today, not just college students, young people volunteer, do community service at a record rate, a rate higher than their parents and a rate that we've never seen before.
And the candidates know it. Campaign signs have appeared on campus by the dozens. Representatives of both parties have been here passing out sample ballots, all of them betting that this new generation of voters will turn out in numbers that will make a difference.
If that happens, it may signal the beginning of a new wave of activism.
Not only do we recognize the importance of a vote, we also recognize how important it is to go beyond that in terms of connecting with our peers, sharing our opinions, and making sure that we're as present outside of the voting booth as we are inside of it.
Early voting has been strong across the board here in North Carolina, Campbell, and it's hard to pull out those numbers just for the young voters. They've seen a very strong turnout here on the North Carolina campus, but as far as statewide goes, it's really one of those unknowns that we'll be watching for on Election Day to see if they try to turn this state from red to blue.
All right, David. David Mattingly for us tonight. Appreciate it, David. Coming up next, political endangered species.